Good evening. This is the March 3rd, 2025 workshop meeting of the Township Committee. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk, all on January 11th, 2025. Committeeman Clark.
Here.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Here.
Committeeman Sedembrino.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
I'm here.
Mayor Perry.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Who's done?
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide, defending our constitutions, freedoms, and ways of life. Thank you. First item on our agenda tonight, we have a presentation recognizing March 2025 as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Middletown. At this time, I would like to invite registered nurse Bonnie Woodward to join Mayor Perry at the front of the room.
So Nurse Bonnie and I get to meet at the, first of all, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Good. Love it. Nurse Bonnie and I met each other at a Monmouth County SPCA event. And she was talking to Tom Arnone and then realized that I was the mayor. It was like, oh, we have to do a colorectal cancer proclamation. And I said, well, that's one way to start a conversation off with another person. But what most people don't realize is how serious and how prevalent it is in our community. So Bonnie, if you want to say a few words and then we'll proclaim this.
Sure. Thank you. So colorectal cancer has been on the rise for young people under the age of 50. So if you're 45 years old and you have no symptoms and you have no family history, you are due for your colonoscopy. If you're having any issues, you need to get a colonoscopy, even if you're 20, 15, 25, 35, because colon cancer starts out with absolutely no symptoms. And then if you're having some problems, you can definitely catch it early or prevent it by having a routine screening, as we call it. It's a little 20-minute nap. You wake up, you say, was it done yet? And cookies and juice are happening. So, everybody needs to get their screening. If you're 45, don't be, oh no. And if you're 55 or 60 and you never did it, just give us a call.
You had the deputy mayor cookies and juice. You didn't have to give him any more.
I've been there a few times.
Sometimes they're illnesses.
The mayor doesn't want to go, though. I've been trying to tell him, he just refuses to go.
Well, the one thing that I do want to say is, and that I didn't know, is that this is the second leading cause of death amongst men and women when it comes to cancer, and which is something that I had no idea about. As Bonnie mentioned, this is a preventable disease, and everyone should take it extremely seriously. So appreciate everything that you do. So I have a proclamation here, and I won't go through the whereases, but I do want to say that there were approximately 152,810 new cases, and 53,000 ended in death because of a preventable disease. So I think that is the take home, that this is, while it's an easy one to make light of, but it claims 53,000 people's lives, and that is 53,000 people who could have had an easy screening and could still be with us today. So therefore, I, Mayor Tony Perry, and the Middletown Township Committee do hereby recognize March 2025 as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Middletown. Bonnie, thank you so much for everything. Yeah.
Mayor, can I
Yes.
give you some information?
Perfect.
You know, there's the VNA and the NJC cancer screen that offers assistance and free colonoscopies for the underinsured and the uninsured. And we're having on Saturday in Asbury Park, colorectal cancer awareness, trust your gut. So you know, learn about it, ask me, you know. call your
I saw
doctor.
one campaign that said, no, there's no more butts when it comes to colorectal cancer.
That's true.
All right,
Thank
great,
you.
then let's do this.
Sorry.
But we'll take that and certainly make it available, all right?
All right, I'm gonna hold this. Perfect.
1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Next item on our agenda, we have a presentation recognizing Middletown High School North Wrestling Program for winning the 2025 Short Conference B Division Championship. At this time, I would like to invite the wrestlers along with head coach Eric Morley, assistant coaches Jody Smith, Matt Winters, Hugo Pinto, Brady Smith, and Matt Sergio to join Mayor Perry at the front of the room. I apologize if I mispronounced anyone's name.
Why don't we give it up for our short conference champion? So 24-2. Pretty good. Got a lot to be proud of there, right? You know, before I turn it over to the coaches to talk about, and I want you all, because I do this for everybody, turn around, look at your parents and your loved ones. You didn't get here on your own. You got here from a lot of hard work and your parents dedicating themselves to keeping you motivated, keeping you going, driving you sometimes to and from practice, school, matches, whatever. So why don't you say thank you to your parents and guardians real quick? Thank you. I was never offended by that until I had 3 kids of my own, and then how was school? Good. What'd you do? Nothing. Great. What am I paying for again? You want to try it again? There you go. That was feeling your soul, right? Guys, a lot to be proud of. Another excellent season, one that is going to be in those history books, because at 24-2, nobody wanted to see Middletown High School North on that schedule. Nobody wanted to see it. A lot to be proud of. A lot of you not only succeeding as a team, but as individuals as well. But the more important thing that you have realized is that while you are defined one-on-one in these matches, you are defined as a team, and you do not get to 24-2 without that team together. So I want to congratulate you as a team. I want to congratulate you as a regional finalist. Nick Wall, 4th place in Region 5. Dan Benbrook, 4th place in Region 5. And Tom, where's Tom? 1st place in Region 5 with a record on the season of 42-1. So these 3 wrestlers have earned a trip to the individual state championships in Atlantic City, which starts this Thursday. So go get them. Remember that the colors that you wear not only represent yourself, they represent this town, your high school. So wear that when you're out on Atlantic City.
this week. Coach, turn it over to you if you have a couple words.
Not a couple words, we just wanted to take the time to say thank you for recognizing both of us tonight.
All right. Well, let's give these champions. We got certificates for all of you. Raven, ready to go?
Yep, I'm gonna take a group picture and then parents and guardians, if you wanna come up after and take your own as well.
All right, here we go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
All right, that's right, that's right. All right, let's give it up for our chancellor. Well, Tom, get 2 on 1. All right, you wanna do it? All right, huddle up, huddle up,
We're doing one, let's go. Come on, let's do it. Region champion. Lines on me, lines on 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's good, that's stuff. Nice. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to take a brief 2-minute recess so the people, if they want to leave, have time to go. Oh. Might be a late night.
Here we go. Karen?
Next item on our agenda, we have a public hearing of proposed ordinances. First ordinance is 2025-3455, an ordinance amending Chapter 240-25 of the Code of the Township of Middletown, governing various recreation program fees.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance number 2025-3455? Seeing no member of the public stepping forward, move to close public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Next on our agenda, we have 2025-3456, an ordinance authorizing stop signs at designated intersections within the Brash Farms development and designation of Brash Boulevard as a through street.
Any member of the public wishing to make a public comment on ordinance number 2025-3456? Seeing no member of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Next on the agenda is 2025-3451, an ordinance authorizing financial agreement upon a portion of Block 1131, lots 31 and 32, TBA Block 1131, Lot 32.01, with Avalon Middletown Urban Renewal LLC an urban renewal entity pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law, NJSA 40A:20-1 et sec.
Any member of the public wishing to make a public comment? Yes, ma'am. Joe? Okay. He's going to bring over the mic for you. Just give him 1 sec.
Thank you.
Just state your name for the record, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Esther Nelson. I'm a Middletown resident. I had a question, clarification on these ordinances. There's 4 proposed for this development, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need to speak separately for each of them or together, but I'm trying to understand why the abatement is for 30 years and not a shorter amount. I had talked to a few people in other towns. Sometimes the abatement is only for 10 years. And the amount of the tax abatement that after that time period, the property is reassessed for the increase in value due to the development.
Mhm.
And here we're locking in the, why is it 30 years?
It's not locked in for 30 years. There is a graduation throughout the entire entirety of the 30 years. It's set for 30 years, and appreciate your question. And I think I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it in the last one. Part of the biggest issue that we face as a township is the tax appeal part of the tax appeal part of complex sites like this. Right now, we have 5 years of tax appeals on this property. Those tax appeals are for the township to defend itself on every single one of them. And unfortunately, the flaw in the law is that the township is then responsible for everyone else's tax deficiency. So if the town is found to be in, too high of an assessment, the town is responsible for carrying the cost for the schools and for the county. So we don't get our money back. So while we only receive 23% of the tax bill, we are responsible for 100% of the refund. So the 30 years is an effort to map out those 30 years without the town losing a single dollar, to be able to map that out for 30 years, understanding the cash infusion that these entities, being that it's in an area in need of redevelopment and is qualified under that redevelopment law, it will then set forth those taxes for the next 30 years with escalators at certain segments of that 30-year time period.
If I read it correctly, it was 2% per year, potentially up to 2% per year?
No. Well, go ahead, Brian. This is on Avalon, on the Avalon.
Yeah, on the
side.
Avalon one, but on and the others as well. So 2% is just the administrative fee. So it's 10% of the revenue of the project. So it starts at 10% and then it escalates over time.
From
Later
there.
on, stages up. There's 5 stages that escalate over time. So towards the later years, you're just about at 100%. But it's no, it's 2% is just the administrative fee, which is merely for us to review the audits. They have to submit audits annually. They have profit limitations that they can't make more than 12% profit on the project. If they make that, we review the annual audits that they have to submit to us once the project's online. And they have to be subject to those profit limitations. And if there's any excess profits realized by the developer, then we recapture those profits and go back into the township's coffers.
Thank you. That information was not specified in the ordinance. It perhaps is in another agreement that is supplemental to the ordinance, but I didn't see that language in the document in the agenda packet for this evening. I was also curious, in those ordinances, it specifies about increased jobs and that it will bring, if you add the sum of the new jobs for the 4 ordinances, it totals over 1,000 jobs. And I wanted to clarify if these are jobs in addition to people that already work in those office park, or if it includes the people already there. And would there be an additional 1,000 vehicles that would be driving in and out of the property, not including the residents of the apartment building?
Is it going to create 1,000?
It says, if you add up the numbers of the 4 different ordinances about the job growth, that's part of the reason that the town is supporting these ordinances. It's 1,008 jobs.
So there's both temporary construction jobs that will be created during the construction, and then jobs for the sites. But yeah, there'll be, there's already, so the site's already constructed and designed for full occupancy. So the only actual significant improvement of the site is the apartment building, which is 340 units. So the existing site's already designed, the existing buildings are already designed for a lot of those jobs. So there's probably some overlap between people that will be there and new jobs because there's substantial vacancies in those buildings, which is why we have all the tax appeals that we have. So the site, but for the apartment building, which is being incorporated into the design, is already designed and equipped for those number of people to be on that site.
I understand. It was just, they had both construction jobs and permanent jobs, and the total of permanent jobs was over 1,000. So I wanted to reflect that the idea is that a significant number of those new jobs may actually be existing jobs that people who already work at the office park. But there will be also additional traffic as a result of this.
And I think the purpose is the long-term viability of that building was dependent on on this action being taken. Those buildings, there's no guarantee, as you know, because that building has gone through ebbs and flows. And the discussion that we had at the introduction of this ordinance was the realistic possibility and potential for this to transform from a fully commercial site to a fully residential site, which is what the proactive step was here.
In response to that, can I clarify if the office buildings could then in the future be transitioned into a residential, or only the new construction would be residential, but the existing buildings could not be converted into?
The existing buildings will at 100% remain commercial, and the only approvals that that will be requested will be for the residential component that is being discussed.
Okay.
So the short answer, the humanistic answer to your question is no.
All right, that was important. And I just wanted to note, this is a very big company. Avalon Bay Communities is the parent company of Urban Renewal LLC. Currently, they have over 80,000 units in the country, with probably about 6,000 units in New Jersey. There's been issues at a number of their communities, and I wanted this township to be aware of some of the ongoing issues with regard to those properties in other parts of our state.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Any other member of the public wishing to make a public comment? Seeing no other member of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Next, we have ordinance 2025-3452, an ordinance authorizing financial agreement upon a portion of Block 1131, Lot 30, TBA Block 1131, Lot 30.01, with Exit 109 Urban Renewal 1 LLC, an urban renewal entity pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law, NJSA 40A:20-1 et sec.
Any member of the public wishing to make a public comment on public ordinance number 2025-3452? Seeing no member of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Next, we have ordinance 2025-3453, an ordinance authorizing financial agreement upon a portion of Block 1131, Lot 32, TBA Block 1131, Lot 32.02, with Exit 109 Urban Renewal 2 LLC, an urban renewal entity pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law, NJSA 40A:20-1 et sec.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance number 2025-3453? Seeing no member of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and approve.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Next, we have ordinance 2025-3454, an ordinance authorizing financial agreement upon a portion of Block 1131, Lot 31, TBA Block 1131, Lot 31.01, with Exit 109 Urban Renewal 3 LLC, an urban renewal entity pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law, NJSA 40A:20-1 et sec.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance number 2025-3454? Seeing no member of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Next item on our agenda, we have introduction of proposed ordinances. Ordinance 2025-3457, an ordinance of the Township of Middletown in the County of Monmouth, amending and supplementing Chapter 465, Section 465-96 of the General Code of the Township of Middletown.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held March 17, 2025. At this time, I would like to ask the Township Committee to adopt a consent agenda, which would include resolutions 25-114 through 25-124, including firefighter appointments.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass consent agenda.
All right.
Next, we have Township Committee comments.
All right. Committeeman Sedambrino?
No comments this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Committeewoman Kratz?
That was kind of, had me on my toes.
There you
for
go. See?
Kind of changing it up there. I would just really briefly just like to congratulate our athletes from North this evening. It's always, we all say it when we have the opportunity to have our young people here at Town Hall and be able to celebrate them. So it's always a wonderful time for all of us. So congratulations to North, and we wished our 3 athletes the best on Thursday in the state. So congratulations.
All right. Thank you. Committeeman Clark?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to echo Committeewoman Kratz's comments about the wrestling team. I was fortunate enough to be at a few of their meets this year, and they're a pretty remarkable group. They were outstanding in everything that they did. I'd also like to recognize the Unified Cheer Team, which is a group of students from Middletown South and Middletown North that volunteer to work with special needs children and bring them together for cheer. And they cheer for the boys and girls basketball teams throughout the season. They had a great second season this year, and their Coach B is working really hard to scale that program. So it was pretty cool to watch them develop this year and get better. Looking forward to next year. And as it relates to the 109 project, this has been something that has been worked on for a long time, and a lot of effort going into clearing up the details that you were asking about and trying to make sure that we're doing the right thing, not just for the municipality today, but 20 and 30 years from now. So Mayor, you led on that. You did a heck of a job. Just want to say thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank
That's all I got.
All right, DM?
I'm not sure if everyone else here in the room is upset. I think everyone came out to watch the team take you down tonight.
You know, I forgot to make that joke, that South took you down in the last.
They
meeting.
didn't, they
Yeah.
didn't. But congratulations to the boys. Great job. Just last month, we had the South team in here, but great job to all our teams. Go ahead, Mayor.
All right. Two things I just wanted to quickly mention. Today launched our summer camp program for at 10 a.m. Within 17 minutes, it was sold out. And being the dad of a 4-year-old, I didn't realize the competition that it takes to get your kids into summer camp. What's that? Wow, completely rookie. Fortunately, my wife was sitting there like a hawk. But tonight we did take action. Number 17, I think it was on the agenda, was a strategic partnership with the Monmouth Museum. For about a year, the town has been working alongside the Monmouth Museum, which is an independent nonprofit. It does not get anything from Brookdale. It doesn't get anything from the county. It is its own entity while it is on Brookdale's campus. And I know we have quite a large contingent of Lincroft out here tonight. So I wanted to specifically mention this. And for Erica Schaefer and the team over there do a heck of a job. And it really is a gem for Middletown to have it. As I mentioned, I have a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And if you need a place to let your kids exert all the energy that they possibly could need to exert, go to the Monmouth Museum, especially when it's raining outside. But today we formed a strategic partnership that we approved. And I want to thank the Township Committee for that because this will only further enhance our ability to have summer camps in the southern part of the town. While we do have Horsey in the southern part of town, it's a great summer camp, and the summer camp at Croydon Hall is great, and the MAC is great. But there was a missing demographic, and now to be able to allow, even maybe a dozen or 2 dozen kids the opportunity to explore the Monmouth Museum, learn about science and technology, the arts, aerospace, all these different things right at the Monmouth Museum, paleontology, is really a gem. And the fact that we were able to do it and then in turn support the Monmouth Museum and provide them with the resources that they need. If you're looking for summer camp programs, this is another great summer camp program that we're now able to offer. Second thing I wanted to bring up, thank you to the hundreds of people that voted on our new park over at Waloo. The winning, I believe, was number 3. The winning park was number 3. More than 400 votes were cast for Waloo Park. I was getting my hair cut at Swagger the other day, and while they said it was great that we were updating, they respectfully requested that I rename the basketball courts Quackies. Which they had very strong feelings that happened. But I want to thank all the people that took the time to vote and cast their vote for what that playground is going to look like. Before I open up for public comment, I just wanted to say this. There's been a lot of conversation, and believe me, I'm beyond grateful to see so many people in the audience because normally I'm talking to the staff here at these meetings. But, I look out in the crowd and there's a lot of people that I've been able to work with, especially when it comes to the Lincroft Village Green and Lincroft. And I'm looking at Abe Littenberg, and I'm looking at Marguerite and Lori and Mary Grant out there. And I'm very grateful for that. And we've been able to accomplish, things off of that checklist, off of that wish list, right? And while I don't have it in my constitutional authority, and maybe Brian can take a look at it, I cannot tell you what the results of the Tatum's Table versus Luigi debate will be. And the fact that there was a Star Ledger article on that and an Asbury Park Press article on that, I cannot believe But yes, if you can believe it, we started a program with Uber to get people to their doctor's appointments last month, and not one word in the press. But somehow Luigi's and Tatum's Table gets a Star Ledger article. What's that? Yeah, I'm not accepting any comments on Tatum's Table versus Luigi's either. But you know, there's a lot of concern about 520 and Lincroft. And I do want to thank you, right? Because I saw your Facebook, your flyer, which was beautifully done, by the way. So kudos to whoever did that. And I spoke to Commissioner Director Arnone earlier today. And I was talking to Abe about this. And while you are free to come up here and speak during your time about it, as you know, 520 is a county roadway. And the five of us up here cannot unilaterally do anything about 520. We can help and we can take part, and we want to be part of that solution. So I was able to get Director Arnone. We nailed down a date today on March 18th at 6 o'clock, right upstairs in the training room, here at Town Hall on the first floor. We will hold a public information session where we will have our engineers, our professionals from TED, T&M, John Tabia, who's the head of public works for the county, Joe Ator, who's the county engineer, plus myself and plus Director Arnone, and one other member of the township committee, because we can't have more than that, but and Director Arnone. We will be there to engage in what I think could be a more productive conversation about what you want to see, what your concerns are. Again, you're free to come up to the microphone. I can't stop you from doing that. But I do think that the five of us sitting up here, being that it is a county highway, are unable to do anything unilaterally. So my position, and I think that many of you would agree, is let's put all the stakeholders in the room and let's talk about it, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to have to pay for these improvements. They're the ones that are going to have to do all this work and bid this work out to get it done. So with that, I'll open up for public comment. So again, March 18th at 6 o'clock right here at Town Hall. The county will be here. We will be here. And to hear all of the comments, concerns, feedback, all the things that you'd like to see, and reinvigorating that 520 study that, you know, as so many other, you know, folks can tell you has been certainly a work in progress. I've sat at breakfast with Abe Littenberg talking about the 520 study. With that, I'll open up for public comment. Any member of the public wishing to make a public comment may do, hold on one second. Let me get through my spiel first. May do so. I ask that you state your name for the record, and that you keep your comments to 5 minutes. At 4 minutes, I'll let you know that you have 1 minute remaining. With that being said, any member of the public wishing to make a public comment, I'm going to get you, you're going to be next. All right, sir?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members and members of the public. My name is Susan Makaitis, and I live in the Navesink section of Middletown. On behalf of Food and Water Watch, I am here to ask for your support. Food and Water Watch has more than 2 million supporters and fights for sustainable food, clean water, and livable climate for all of us. The New Jersey legislature will be considering the Superfund Act, S3545 A4696, a bill that would force polluters to pay for the damage they cause to our environment. The bill has already been passed by the New Jersey State Senate Committee. It is similar to bills already passed by the states of New York and Vermont. As a coastal community, we know better than most that Middletown is vulnerable to the effects of climate change. If the Superfund Act is passed, any municipality in need of climate change, adaptation, and resilience projects would be able to apply for the funds raised by the Act. This is a great opportunity for Middletown to support a bill that could provide funding at no cost to taxpayers. Will you please support this bill by resolution at your next Township Council meeting? I have provided the documents and a sample resolution along with the fact sheet for your consideration. Many thanks in advance for your anticipated support, and please contact me with any questions. I hope you got that all in your packets tonight.
We did.
Okay,
Thank you
great.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Any other member of, yes, sir, come on down. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you? My name's Thomas Anasio. I just wanted to throw the idea out there with the roadway. They make these speed bumps. They're called smart speed bumps, where they're filled with a liquid that you can set to a certain speed. And if you're going over them at the right speed or lower, they don't affect the drive or the flow of traffic. And if you're going faster than that, they turn into a hard substance immediately and cause it to be a speed bump. There's no installation. They can be laid across the road, and they're good from 32 degrees to 104 degrees. And you could coat them with white, which would change the temperature. I think this might be a quick fix in case you guys did not know about this, because I did not.
I had not heard about,
Yeah. check it out.
waterbed speed bumps, but,
Yeah, it's an anti-Newton fluid. and
it's
the
what? Say it again?
Anti-Newton fluid, the harder you impact it, the harder it becomes.
Uh-huh.
And they can mix it to any degree you want for speed. And if you're going less or that speed limit, it doesn't form and come hard. You go right through it. So there'll be no flow of traffic.
Is it one-time use or?
No, they lay them out. They're in Europe, on their roads. And they don't have to be installed. They can lay onto the road. You can have them built into the road too, but they could also be just laid on there.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments.
Yep.
Hang on just one second. Sir, did you want to make a public comment? Yes. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Well, if he can state his name and address for the record, he can. All right. No, I just wanted to make sure before, you got it. We got recruits here. Excellent job. I was gonna say, if they say YMCA on it.
Good evening. My name's Coralie Dixon and I'm a resident of Lincroft. My family and I live on County Road 520, Newman Springs Road. And I'm here tonight to express our concern regarding vehicle traffic and safety on the section of 520 that runs through Lincroft and to request your support in finding a solution. First, we know you're well aware of the issues on 520 and have done much to help our community. Your work in acquiring the property known as the Acme Road has been wonderful. And we look forward with anticipation to construction beginning later this year and the improvements it will bring to our business district. You've met with many residents over the years and sympathized with our concerns. And the MTPD has made new efforts to increase ticketing and signage along 520 in recent months. And we thank you all sincerely for these efforts. Thank you. And yeah.
She's getting the crowd pumped up.
I don't know if it's distracting. Lincroft residents have continued to notice an increase in accidents, speeding, and unsafe driving habits on our stretch of 520 over the past year, culminating in the most recent accident this past Thursday, February 27th, that's this one, which occurred when a vehicle attempting a left turn from Roma Court onto 520 struck a westbound vehicle coming from Red Bank. This car then crashed into our property, jumping the sidewalk and damaging our front fence and bushes. I wish I could say this is a rare occurrence, but every resident of Lincroft knows it is not. Others can tell similar stories of accidents, dangerous speeding, tailgating, sideswiping, and red lights being run. Besides the residents here tonight who will speak, I have letters from 10 more residents who took time today on short notice to write you paragraphs of information detailing their experiences and concerns, and will ask that these be entered into the official record. The situation has become dire and is affecting our entire community. Residents do not feel safe using the sidewalks along 520 or making left-hand turns from residential streets. Children plead with parents after school to allow them to walk to friends' houses or bike into town for ice cream, and we sadly must refuse out of concern for their safety. In our home, we were forced to drive our 10-year-old daughter the short 100 yards distance from our home to Inspired Minds Art School to the after-school drawing class she loved, as we could not allow her to walk. Though we truly wish we could, it is not safe. The accidents I've mentioned often take out a large section of fencing at the nearby residences on Newman Springs Road, which we noticed with a concern as we passed, worried what harm could befall a pedestrian on our street walking at the wrong time. When I told my husband, Brian, about the accident last week, his immediate reply was, I want a metal fence or a retaining wall. And who could blame him? He wants to protect his family. And yet my response to him is that we can't. Because if we build anything stronger than the split rail fence we currently have, the next time this accident happens, and it will happen again if changes aren't made, the driver could be killed, and I can't live with that. Thankfully, the driver from last week's accident walked away with just a shoulder injury. These issues have been occurring for decades. We know residents have come to the township and the county individually and in small groups many times, seeking changes to make our community safer. All our local officials, law enforcement, businesses, county engineers, and commissioners always agree that this is a huge problem and major changes are needed. And yet here we still are. With the opening of Lifetime in February 2024, the new Red Bank Veterinary Hospital in May 2024, and the upcoming housing development at River Center 109, the existing issues are being exacerbated and the problems will only continue to get worse. So we are here tonight to ask for your support. We as residents have formed a new advocacy group, the Lincroft Safe Streets Coalition. We refuse to accept the status quo any longer. And more importantly, we are willing to do the work and we want to help. We want to work with our local businesses, law enforcement, county, and you, our township officials and elected leaders, to finally identify and implement the solutions that will work to improve driver and pedestrian safety in our village while also maintaining the flow of traffic. But we need your help. Newman Springs is a county road, and last June I presented these concerns at a commissioner meeting. All the commissioners sympathized with our concerns and agreed something should be done. But they also asked, what does Middletown Township want? Have you spoken with your township committee? Because while the road is their jurisdiction and responsibility, they need township support and want to hear from you, our local leaders, to confirm and emphasize to them that these changes are a priority and something our township needs and wants the county to address. First, we need you to collaborate with the county on our behalf to make this issue a priority. And second, we need your support in creating a new working group, as you mentioned, Mayor Perry, to examine this traffic corridor and make recommendations for traffic calming measures that will allow the safe flow of vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists in our community. Our goal is to reduce accidents and injuries, allow residents to safely enjoy all that our neighborhoods have to offer, and our community and local businesses to flourish. All of us need to work together. Residents, businesses, local schools, law enforcement, county, and township officials. As residents, we are ready and willing to help. Will you support a working group to research this information and come up with a plan to present to the county and township? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Out of all the people holding the boards, Abe was the most distracted out of all of them.
Thank you.
Any other member of the public wish to make a public comment? Yes, I'm sorry. How are you today?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Denise Bailey. I am a lifelong resident of Lincroft. I'm here tonight to express my concerns on the traffic conditions on Newman Springs Road. You are well aware that the road is primarily a 4-lane road from Swimming River Bridge to Phalanx Road, from which point becomes 2-lane road. This road has been the site of numerous crashes, some of which have been fatal. The most recent fatal occurred on December 30th, 2024. I don't have the exact numbers, but I am certain that there have been several crashes on this road since then. The one that is foremost in my mind is the one involving my mother, as she was making a left turn out of my street on Roma Court onto Newman Springs Road this past Thursday. Fortunately, she only sustained minor injuries. Newman Springs Road was originally a 2-lane road that expanded to a 4-lane road in the 1980s. There have been few traffic measures put in place since that expansion. To add to this, the recent approval for additional resident units in the area of Half Mile Road and One River Center. The area between the Garden State Parkway and the Acme Shopping Center is primarily a straight road. However, there is a curve in the area near the Normandy Road overpass and Hilltop Circle that pose view obstructions for cars pulling onto the road, either out of driveways or Roma Court. Some have suggested traffic lights, circles, increased police enforcement, flashing pedestrian crossing signals, or lowering the speed limit to 35. Something must be done. I am asking this township committee to put its full force backing behind a comprehensive approach to slow the speed, reduce the crashes, and save lives. Thank you.
I'd ask you where you got your intel from, but I have an assumption that you got it from your husband. Okay. Well, the one thing I do want to say is, and Chief Weber is here. I do want to thank him because this was a priority that was brought up, at the end of last year. And I just want to point this out. For January and February of 2025, MTPD conducted 176 motor vehicle stops on Newman Springs Road. That's just the first 2 months of this year, 83 of which has resulted in at least one summons, which is a 47.15% rate. Comparing that to the rest of the town, motor vehicle stops 959 for January and February. That's 295 summons, which is a 30.76% rate. So the reason I bring that up, obviously, there's a much higher rate of tickets and summons being written on 520 comparatively to the rest of the town, which is not something you needed those statistics, right? Because you all live in and around that area. But I just wanted it to be clear that our police, with that presence, with the new speeding signs that you may have noticed out there, they are targeting this area for enforcement, to spread the word, the love, the punishment, whatever you want to call it, that they are out there in full force to ensure that the speed limits are being adhered to. That being said, again, to address the working group issue, this working group is not going to be an appointed group. It's going to be a group made up of the town, the county, and the residents of Lincroft. So I hope that I see every single one of you at that, and come with your suggestions, come with your comments. I did not know. I'm going to look into the speed bumps. I've never heard of that before. So thank you for that comment. But I do want to thank the chief and the department for prioritizing 520 and doing a targeted enforcement of that area. All right, any other member of the public wishing to make a public comment? Abe? I swear he wants to speak. All right.
Abe Littenberg, 41 Hickory Lane, Lincroft, New Jersey. I was hesitant to come up here because I know you're going to pick on me, but which you've
Now you
already
know how Heifel
demonstrated.
feels.
I'm very aware of the road signs that show the speed that you're going and the enforcement. I saw 2 cars pulled over today. It's very clear that there's an effort, and I know that my fellow Lincroft residents have tried to make this a situation that you're aware of. It's been going on a long time, over 20 years. We've been looking to improve that corridor, and I just want to thank you for organizing this meeting with the county, because that's the only way we're going to make any progress.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you. I want to thank the police chief, because you're listening. It's obvious, and let's move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abe. Appreciate that. All right, any other member of the public? See, no other member of the public. Oh, I'm sorry. Melanie. I didn't see it.
My name is Melanie Elmiger, Green Tree Terrace in Lincroft. When I was at the February 18th meeting, I was telling you some of the statistics on the accidents just at exit 109, just to kind of encourage all our government entities to bring this accident issue, particularly at exit 109, to escalate it, to be proactive to whatever is going to be developed at exit 109, to be ahead of it. And I gave you the 2024 statistics. I think your eyes kind of popped out when I told you some of the numbers of like rear end strikes at Half Mile Road were 13, running red lights is rampant, leaving the scene of the accident has happened numerous times because the parkway's right there. I really think it's a configuration problem with how the Turnpike Authority designed the ramp. The LVGA had been to all those meetings, submitted public comments, asking them not to allow the cross over to Schultz Drive, but they still allowed that. Nevertheless, when I was here 2 weeks ago, I said, I'll give you the 2023 statistics as well, because I think the feeling is like, oh no, this is a brand new problem. 2023, it was kind of just growing. In 2018, that's when August 20 of 19 is when all that configuration work and the ramps at exit 109 was done. Then we had COVID. So even looking at 2022, that there were only 44 accidents in that area. In 2023, it raised to 94. In 2024, it raised to 120. And it's just kind of growing. So where are we going to be in 2025? You know, there've already been accidents there. So I think each day we have to work towards getting ahead of this, because whatever's happening at 109 is spilling over into Lincroft. I think the lights are aggravating people. There's a lot of tailgating and rear end hitting because they're weaving and maneuvering. The county has a serious design problem with that section of the road. There's a lot of driver confusion. And it's people that have to cross the county, they come up to 109 because they can't cross lower where they might want to be. They might want to be in areas of Tinton Falls, going to Colts Neck, but they have to come up to Lincroft to get to those places. So maybe there's a way to divert them, especially with Fort Monmouth coming. So I'm so pleased that you're going to have an open information session to discuss this. Back in the day, when Committeeman Scharfenberger was on the board, we had a 520 task force. And it was something that was made by ordinance. So I would like you to consider, if we do have an information session and if all those people are in the same room.
Task force is the government's way of talking about bureaucracy, but I hear what you're saying.
Well, it just forces people to meet in a regular basis and bring new ideas and have dialogue, even with the business owners in Lincroft as well.
Yeah.
And you know, just try to formalize it. And it was a successful group.
I
when
felt
it
like
formed.
opening it up to the public in its entirety, because
Absolutely.
one of these people out
Absolutely.
here might have an issue that another person, it doesn't impact the other person. And when task force is talk about stuff like that, you're talking about it from your perspective, and you're going to talk about it from your perspective, and she's going to talk about it from her perspective. And that, to me, never accomplishes anything, because in the end, you're going to upset the person who wasn't engaged in the conversation because you weren't willing to do it. And that's why I call task forces the government's synonym for bureaucracy, because that's all they bring is more bureaucracy, because not everybody's voice is then heard. To me, holding public information sessions where every single person has the ability to take part in it is the only way. Now, 80% of the people may be happy in the end of what the decisions are, and 20%'s not. But you have to do what's best for the 80% in the end, because 80% is still an 80% improvement in a situation. So holding public information sessions where there can be an open dialogue with all parties is critical. And to me, having task forces and appointed people, who am I going to pick from the audience to be as a part of the task force? It becomes another level of government that I think is unnecessary.
All I'm saying is that if we have the information session and it's successful, let's try to form a group that meets more regularly and not just let it happen once. You know, let's try to carry it on. And to be honest, I've asked about the 520 task force in front of this group multiple times in the last year, even in the county. And you've nodded your head and said, I'm going to talk to Tom Arnone about that. So like, now that you're saying this, like, and slapping it down, okay, that's fine. I'll take the information session.
I never agreed to creating a task force. So
No,
that
you
we can
didn't, but you
have
said,
a
okay,
fancy,
we'll talk to.
but Melanie,
I'm not getting in an argument with you about it.
I think you're
surprised
saying
at the different attitude towards it, because all I'm asking for, because I wasn't on that task force. I just know.
Neither
I
was
have all
I.
the notes. I know what happened in those meetings. They made a lot of progress
was.
with the county because, you know, different government officials were coming from different angles. It was nice. It was people getting together.
You have to have
talk.
a comprehensive review, and that
Of course. And they did that. They did studies. The county did studies. All I'm saying is that let's make sure the conversation continues.
If it was comprehensive, then things would have gotten done a lot faster. And clearly, they weren't.
Ouch. Okay.
Well, If things had been fixed in the last 520 task force, would all of you be sitting in this room right now? The answer is no. So you either have to accept, not you personally, but the governments have to accept responsibility and accept either action and tough talk, or let's get something done and let's just do it so that we can start improving.
Well, I love
Small
that. I love that.
Small incremental benefits are better than big grand ideas. You and I have sat together and
Of
talked
course. Yeah,
and
many
talked
times.
about and talked about different things. And I didn't like some of the items. I don't like the one crosswalk that the LBGA wants, because you have a crosswalk within 50 feet of the same of the crosswalk that you proposed. It has to be an open dialogue. That's what's critical. And that's why inviting all the members of the public are critical to the equation. Just because it's March 18th at 6 o'clock doesn't mean that that's going to be the first and only conversation. It has to be an ongoing conversation, because it like everything else, we're a big county. We're a county of 670,000 people, and we have to work, and Tom and the commissioners are going to have to do work in Neptune and in Colts Neck
Right,
and
oh,
in
of course,
Belmar and all across the rest of the county. But if we continue the dialogue and the conversation, then things can happen. So just because I put out the first date in the first meeting, it does not mean that that will be the only one. So I just want to make it clear to everybody else.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, whose hand am I missing back there? Yes, sir. How are you, sir? Good, thanks.
John Trentacosta, member of Lincroft. Is regards to the meeting on March 18th, is there a representative from the military that would be there in regards to the Normandy Bridge? Because if there is any conversation of some sort of construction.
You mean from Earl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be good to have somebody there to start off conversation, because no way they're gonna move that train track or anything, but they might have to do something which could affect that.
We can
And
certainly invite Earl. I mean,
Because
it's a
could-
great suggestion.
That could slow things up if it runs into an issue with that.
No,
Even
great.
if it's putting a traffic light on their bridge that they don't want.
Yep. Great suggestion. I appreciate that, Tone. We'll reach out to Earl.
And also, I'd like to, completely unrelated to 520, I'd like to reach out to Middletown to help with some sort of education in regards to letting the public know what our volunteer firefighters and EMS do, because we need help. We need members. I'm also a member of the Lincroft Fire Company. So we need members, and there are other companies in the Middletown area that need members to help respond. And a lot of the people that are moving into Middletown have no idea what it even means to be a volunteer. So if something, I just want to throw it out there, I don't want an answer now, but if something could be addressed in the near future to help get an education out there to maybe some people will understand that their neighbors are going to be coming and maybe they would like to start joining.
Yeah, I mean, I've recommended, I mean, number one, I've recommended to all to the chiefs and the fire companies that the part of, all of you do solicitations for donations, right? And there's a lot of people in all areas of town that are moving in, have no idea that you are all volunteers. So the simple solicitation that, you know, I get from Old Village, letting me know that they're all volunteers every single year, before, you know, sending a donation, I think is an effective way for a lot of people that are either moving in from other parts of New Jersey, other parts of town, whatever the case may be, to let them know that they're volunteers. The volunteer incentive program, which this township committee has already implemented phase 1 and is getting ready to implement phase 2, to provide a $500 property tax payment to volunteers on top of the low SAP, on top of waiving all construction and permitting, parking fees at the train station. These are all great mechanisms to help with the recruiting process for both fire, EMS, and OEM. We're already seeing an increase in responses from all the departments because the volunteers know that they have to hit a higher percentage of call volume to get the $500 property tax payment, which I believe it's over 200 volunteers will get $500 off of their property taxes before the May tax bill.
I'm aware of all that stuff, and I am a big volunteer when it comes to going out to the meet and greets, the touch a truck and stuff like that, and trying to get people out there. But I think there needs to be more for the new people moving in, because most of the mail is not even looked at.
Well, and also I should point out that in not one single fire station, you have 5 new firefighters that were just approved tonight.
Oh, I know where,
Okay.
and we still.
And
I'm not speaking.
one's from your fire company.
Yeah, I'm not speaking solely about us, but we definitely.
No, but I think
need more.
I agree. But again, I think that it's a give and take a little bit, and I think that the fire chiefs and the fire department have done a pretty good job at making them aware. But I think that there needs to be a department-wide effort to certainly make the new residents of Middletown aware that this is not NYPD or NYFD or emergency response that's coming in. They need to be aware that their fire department, that their fire company locally to them that's going to respond to their home in the event of an incident is a volunteer.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your volunteerism as well. Appreciate that. Yes, sir. Mhm. How are you?
Good, how are you? Good evening. I'm going to bring a bit of a younger perspective. to the-
Your name?
Oh, I'm James Matthews. I'm going to bring a bit of a younger perspective to the 520 dilemma per se, because I'm a newer driver. I'm 18 years old. So I've been driving for a couple of years, but I went to high school in Wall Township. I live in Lincroft, but I went to communications in Wall Township. I did an internship in Freehold. So I've certainly spent a good deal of the last 2 years just driving all around Monmouth County. I would take Route 18 to high school. I would take the Parkway to high school. I would take Route 9 and 195 over to Freehold. And I can confirm that the only road I've ever really felt unsafe driving on is 520. When I first started driving, my parents even told me too that if I was ever, I have a couple of friends who live off of 520 in the residential area. And they're like, if you're leaving late at night, don't even try making the left turn. Just try making the right turn. And once I started driving, I realized that people are always driving like crazy. They're speeding over there. I go to my friend's band practice, my friend's house for band practice. Several times I've seen accidents. One time I even had to take a detour because a pole was down from an accident. And another time I was coming home one night and even saw somebody driving in the wrong direction, which was quite the adventure for a new driver to have. I think that one thing you want to keep in mind is that the reality is it's 4 lanes, there's no shoulder, it's right before the Parkway, and it's in an extremely dense area of Lincroft. Obviously, the rest of the county is going to always be using that to get over, get east and get on the Parkway, but Middletown residents shouldn't have to like bear the brunt of the risk associated with such a densely populated section of the roads. So I definitely think that one thing to keep in mind is that any sort of traffic calming measures is going to be key in just getting less people driving fast for most of the day is one thing that I think as a younger Middletown resident who commutes to Brookdale, I would feel comfortable that that's something you can kind of set forth to try and make it a safer town to drive in.
Excellent. And you're a very good speaker for 18 years old. Give it up for this guy. All right. Anyone else? I'm just making sure I'm not missing a hand. Yeah. I think the baby he wanted the baby to speak. All right. Going once, going twice. Okay. Seeing no other member of the public stepping forward. Thank you all very much for your comments. March 18th, 6 p.m. Thank you. Seeing no other members of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and adjourn.
Second.
Committeeman Clark.
Yes.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel. Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn.
Have a good night,
Good night.
everybody. Thank you all very much.